Hello, everybody, and welcome to What the Fuck Fridays.
The fuck?
The fuck with my usual co-host here. I'm the Moo Cow, A Presenza, and we got
Jonathan A. Moody.
And for the first time, we have
Just Jenn.
Just Jenn.
Now, remember, this is the show that we invented so that we could do wackadoodle movies that we thought Jen could, not stand.
You actually that was the tagline was
Yeah.
these are the movies Jen can't watch.
Yeah.
Or won't watch.
Or won't watch. Well, yeah, won't watch.
Yeah.
But we
You
have a
could
little...
watch it, you just don't watch it.
Right.
Yeah.
But we have a better understanding of our friend here now, and there are movies that she could probably have watched. Like, yeah, I'm sure she would have liked Greasy Strangler. It's just enough wackadoodle without being gross.
Would she have liked Tusk?
Yeah, I think she would have.
She's like, I don't think so.
Well, liked and gotten through is one thing. Some of the movies we've done, you just would not tolerate. You would just be like, that's it. But we're in for a special treat this time because we're doing a movie way back in 1983, a movie that inspired Big Trouble in Little China and Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. And we are talking about the original Wushu classic, Zoo Warriors from Magic Mountain.
Did they go to Disney?
Oh no, this is a very
different Magic
special
Mountain?
Magic Mountain. Trust me, this is a balls to the wall, crazy wackadoodle wuxia movie, which is sort of in China. These are superheroic people who go over the top and do crazy, superhuman
I'm talking like
things.
watermelon monster type
Oh,
things.
that plus on steroids.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. She has no idea what to talk about.
Strap
I
yourselves
don't
in.
feel upset about that. I'm okay
No,
without that
you
knowledge.
would like that. I know you like Chopsaki movies.
Mm-hmm.
So this is like the granddaddy of those films, and I think you guys are gonna have fun.
All right. Well, we'll be right back.
Can't wait to see these guys' reaction. We are back. So I am dying to know first impressions of Zoo Warriors, and from the Magic Mountain.
From the Magic Mountain.
What did you guys think?
I'm still trying to figure out which mountain is the Magic Mountain.
I think
All of them.
there were more
There
than
were a
one
lot
mountain.
of
Yeah, there were
mountains
more
there.
than one mountain. I guess I don't know, and all of them were magical. So there should have been magical mountains.
Yes.
I guess. I don't know.
Everyone's kind of like a baby seal that's been clubbed over the head. We're all kind of stunned.
Yeah, the baby here doesn't know what the heck just happened, but it doesn't matter.
It was interesting.
Yeah.
So who can talk about what happens?
Not it. I'm a guest.
Yeah, this is your first time. God, this is your first movie for What the Fuck.
Yeah, I get a pass.
This is true.
But it's just so.
But you do like this kind of a film.
Yes, well, and I will say I enjoyed this more than some of the others that you.
I heard
showed
you
me,
laughing a
'cause
few
I-
times.
She laughed. She cried. She.
She
It
said,
was
"What the
enjoyable.
fuck?"
It was legitimately funny.
Yeah.
There were
Yeah.
some truly funny scenes.
There was
so.
some crazy shit that happened
Yeah,
in this
there's a
movie.
lot of
It made
that.
no sense, but it
I've
happened.
seen this multiple times. I still can't tell you exactly what's going on.
There's a guy that gets named Virgin Boy because he's not a virgin.
Virgin
but-
Boy and Chubby are the first two characters you run into. There's a fight going on. Nobody really knows why, other than the fact that everybody's got a different color, and so they're all fighting each other.
Yeah, and you don't know like why they're different colors or whatever. You hear that the country has been divided. That's it.
Yeah, there seems to be a lot of Chinese movies set during that.
Yeah, Civil War.
Yeah.
Was there was a Chinese Civil War kind of thing?
There are many Chinese Civil Wars.
Yeah.
We've only had one in America, so
Yeah,
that we can talk about.
yeah, China's a little bit bigger
Older.
and a lot more history.
Yeah.
And so they kind of start fighting each other, And then they are both like, we don't like this. We're going to try and get out. So then they try to get out, and then they can't get out. So then they pretend to be dead, and then that's what half of the other people are doing. So they don't get out, and somehow...
Well, they pretend to be dead, and then randomly they'll get up and fight each other.
Yeah.
And then they pretend to be dead again.
And then they're on a boat, and then other weird stuff happens, and I don't remember exactly where Chubby vanished to.
I don't remember where he vanished to, but I know the other one, Virgin Boy, ends up, like, because he pushed him off the cliff.
Yeah.
And when he got off the cliff, he went into the cliff, basically. He got to, like,
Right.
hold on and go into the cliff.
And then there were, like, these weird puppet vampires that were coming after him.
Just jumping at him, like...
Yeah. Everything was
flying.
Everything was flying around. And there were weird digital effects for no real reason other than flash. And then he runs into, I guess he gets helped by a guy that he thinks is his master, who turns out to be Master Ding.
Yeah, he kind of says, basically now you're my master.
Right.
I'm your student.
And he kind of saves him from the puppet vampires.
And the guy calls him Virgin Boy.
Virgin Boy. And then these other two show up. It's a monk and his student. And they have like poofy sort of mushroom helmets. And the guy's like, oh yeah, they're here to help. They're the good guys. And then they proceed to argue and bicker and fight each other constantly.
Right.
And
other
except
shit
for
happens.
the two, the soldier guy and then the monk's apprentice. They sort of bond over the fact that they don't know what's going on. They're just following.
They're both second bananas, so they kind of bond
Who was
over
the
that.
exploding guy? The guy just kept like he
They were
kept having
all-
fireworks in his stomach, like body.
That was the second monk, the guy who shows up later.
Okay, because that guy, that was so strange. Like all of a sudden he was there, and I was just like, who is what? Did I miss something?
Yeah, inside they end up fighting Blood Demon. Blood Demon poisons the monk, so they have to go and get the poison out, because otherwise in 49 days the world's going to end, blah, blah, blah. So they go to some other place inside the Magic Mountain to meet the Countess.
Well, before they go there, the soldier guy wanders off, and that's when he runs into the eyebrow guy.
Oh, God, the eyebrow guy.
So Soldier Boy, who is that's not Virgin.
That's Virgin Boy.
That's Virgin Boy.
Yeah,
Okay.
he has multiple
That's what I thought.
names.
Yes.
Yeah, got very
But
confusing.
does he ever get like a name?
No, just Soldier.
There probably
Okay.
is one, but I didn't pick it up.
I know the
Okay.
other guy was Jing Shan or something. Jing Shan.
Yeah, they
or
did
something.
give him a name.
Yeah, and that was Chubby, right?
Chubby.
Yeah, which that's what he calls him in the beginning or whatever. And
Well, no, Chubby in the beginning is different.
is he?
Yeah.
The Chubby in the beginning is the
Chubby's
soldier,
red guy.
And then towards the end, they named the other guy Chubby.
It's just
Okay.
funny because you remember in
That's what got me confused.
Drunken
I thought he came
Wu-Tang?
back.
Yeah.
And,
No,
remember in
that's a
Drunken
different guy.
Wu-Tang the one obese lady was called Chubby or no
Right.
Fatty.
Fatty. So they are really like childish with their names, you know.
That happens a lot. I think it's more of a translation thing.
Oh, like they don't like they call them that through the subtitles, like as a mess up or something.
It's also part of the comedy. So yeah, so Eyebrows also is there to help him, and he's called Long Brows because he has these magical kung fu eyebrows that extend out and do weird shit.
And beard.
And beard, yeah.
And he's holding the part of the evil, I guess, in
Yeah.
place with his
Eyebrows.
eyebrows and his sun moonlight thingy
Mirror.
and
Yeah.
he's the one that tells the soldier virgin guy that you have 49 days until this magical star thing happens and you have to find the twin blades.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, he wasn't the one on the rock, was he?
No,
That was another guy. Look,
Yeah.
a lot of these guys.
That
I
was
mean,
the blade of the mountain.
That's right.
I can't
right.
believe you can't.
Jeez,
Jeez.
Jonathan, keep up.
Long brows, blade of the mountain. Two very different.
People.
I can't even finish that.
Oh Lord.
So they end up going to see the Countess, who is a little bitty flame, who might or might not come out depending on what fate has in store. She has a bunch of Amazon chicks who are very good with the swords, who are protecting them and keeping all the rules.
Of course.
And the guys want them to be helped, and blah blah blah. Exposition. Things fly around, and stuff happens, and I really I lose track after a while. It's just. It's you know.
But the Blade of the Mountain scene, I love that because like he's like on that rock and he's just like flying one way and the other.
I think it's actually a bell.
Is it a bell?
Because there's like a slit in the bottom.
At one point, the Countess gets into like a flying horse with wings that's made out of stone and goes to attack the monk guy, and he gets on an elephant. And they're both like jousting on this really weird stone.
And they're like flying over each other.
Well, everybody's flying at all times.
Oh my god!
No one walks anywhere.
Flying the strings,
except for Soldier. He really wasn't like
not
doing
to
that
the
stuff.
end.
Not to the end,
Yeah.
but
he was carried along though by everybody else flying.
Yeah. Everybody else just. I love how like at one time at the end of the movie, one of the guys grabs the other person with their like feet or whatever on their neck, and I'm like, how is that even possible? But like in this movie, I guess anything is possible.
I mean it's a movie that's kind of like this. That you get into a car, you have no idea where you're going, but somebody steps onto the gas pedal and you fly off in random directions, and you do that for an hour and a half.
An hour and 40 minutes.
Yeah, an hour and 40 minutes.
It's hard to put in that extra 10 minutes because like. That literally, I mean, just it felt like the movie kind of just went
Second
all
half
on.
really drags.
Yeah. The first half, you're just like, whoa, what, huh? And the second half, you're like, okay, I'm kind of tired of this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when they get to the Countess, the first time to cure the first guy,
yeah, it's like,
you're
is
like,
this
okay,
over?
how long? And then all of a sudden, you find when they're trying to cure the second guy. Oh, we have like 4 days. Like, wait, what happened to the other 45 days?
How many times did you say, what the fuck is going on? 5 or 6 times at least.
Probably. Like, I mean, this is Paul likes to pick, like, true what the fuck movies. Not just movies that you're, like, going, like, oh, man, this is weird. But, like, movies where you're actually saying what the fuck throughout the whole movie.
What the hell's going on?
It's very confusing. And not in a bad way. Like, it's not
I mean, visually, it is incredibly impressive.
Right.
It just doesn't make a lick of sense to us.
The visuals are the best part about the movie. But the rest
So,
of the movie, plot.
Let me kind of give you a little bit of background on this. Okay, so the director is Sui Hark.
We got to see him at the end of the movie.
He does a cameo at the end. He's done a whole bunch of movies. He ended up doing a couple of Jean-Claude Van Damme movies as well in the 90s.
Wait, directing them?
Yeah, Double something or other, Double Trouble I think it was called, or Double Team, or
Double Team with fucking Dennis Rodman?
Yeah, he did that one.
Oh my god.
And he did a couple other ones, but it turned out Hollywood was not really for him, and he's back making stuff in Hong Kong. But he made a bucket load of these things. And this movie, the wushu kind of films, they were really big in the 70s and especially the 80s, and this kind of brought that type of film to its head, to its like finest, to its highest peak. But before that, it used to be just a form of novel. It was kind of a sensational form of novel, and they go back to the 1930s. And in fact, this movie was based on one of the books from the 1930s. And of the Zoo Mountain Warrior books, there's like 70 of them. There's a pile of them.
I was telling Paul, because he told me this earlier, and I go, so did he put all 70 in this one movie? I was like, that's literally what it felt like.
Feels like a kitchen sink kind of movie.
Yeah.
Just
like,
throw everything and see what happens.
Okay, let's take from this book and this book and this book, and then let's just try to make it make some sense, and
or not.
And maybe people would get it. And
it's kind of like they go from one stunt to another stunt to another stunt without really bothering to matter if it makes narrative sense.
Well, then they try to explain things, and I think it fucks it up even more because,
funny you mentioned that. Because they recut this movie. Now, first of all, they've already remade this movie several times. And I've seen one of the remake. It's still crazy, just not as crazy, and it lacks the charm that this one does. They tried to be more serious with it.
But you can't be serious with a movie like this.
But they also, when this was done, and this was going to be released in the United States, even the foreign distributor was like, yeah, this doesn't make much sense. You're going to have to recut this. So they recut it, and they added in like 10 minutes, sort of bookending it, so that the one guy, soldier guy, is in modern times, and he's kind of talking about it. So it's like a time travel movie. And in fact, it's called Zoo Warrior Time Traveler.
Why?
And they try to use that as a way to explain what happens. I haven't seen it. It's on the disc, but from what I understand, it ends up making the whole thing even worse as far as a narrative story goes.
What is a zoo warrior anyway?
That is the character. That is the kind of hero.
Okay.
From Zoo Mountains.
By the way, so this...
Still haven't figured out which mountains are the Magic Mountains.
Okay, hold on. This actually has an explanation of this movie.
Oh, do tell.
So it says an army deserter, Yuan Bao, is chased by vampires in the mountains of Zoo.
The puppet vampires.
Yeah, he is rescued by Master Adam Chung, and becomes his devoted pupil. But when they are ambushed by the Blood Devil, and the pair find themselves in need of the assistance of a devil chaser, played by Damien Lau, and his pupil, Mang Hoi, with the additional help of the Master Chang Mei, played by Sammo Hung, they manage to hold off the Blood Devil, but they'll need to find the dual swords to destroy it. So, I mean, if you read that, you'd be like, oh, this sounds very interesting. And then you watch the movie like, I don't...
What?
And, that is what happened, but there was so much extra crap in between that wasn't necessary. Like, if it had stuck with something like this, okay, cool, that's
yeah, there was enough stuff going on to fill 36 movies. I mean, it's one of those things where there's something happening, something weird happening every 2 seconds.
Until they start talking.
Yeah.
You just got to sit through that.
It's hard to catch your breath, especially...
It's so funny because we don't want to see them talk.
Especially in the first half. It bogs down in the second half when it's more jibber-jabber going on.
And I think the jibber-jabber also might be money-wise. They can't do the effects every single second of the movie, or whatever.
Speaking of effects, this movie spent a lot of money. They hired special effects people who worked on Star Wars, who worked on Tron.
Do you know which ones?
I don't remember exactly which one I think that's mentioned in the commentary and in some of the other things.
Oh, they have a commentary track.
No, we're not listening to the commentary.
No. I'm not saying.
I'm dying to, just not now.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, we're done with this.
But that was the thing is, they wanted to do a Star Wars-ish fantasy kung fu movie because that was going to be the next thing. They had done something like this, other movies like this before, but not at this level, not at this budget, not quite with all of the effects that were going on. And as a matter of fact, there's a bunch of movies, like I think I mentioned the Chinese Ghost Story and a few other ones that are like this, because this became a huge hit in Hong Kong, a huge hit in China, a huge hit in Japan, and it managed to sort of filter its way later on into the late 80s into Kung Fu theater, which is where I saw part of it. I only saw part of it, but I saw enough to make me like, oh, holy shit, I gotta find this movie. You couldn't find it anywhere. It was unfindable. The only thing I ever saw was once at a con, and the guy had like $150 VHS copy that was all Chinese. It was like an original Cantonese or Mandarin, and then it was subtitled in Cantonese. So it was like Chinese with Chinese. And there was no way I was spending $150 on a VHS for that.
No. That's ridiculous.
So, but I had seen like maybe 40 minutes of it, and I wanted it. And it took a long time, but finally... Shout. And got
we
the
love
Blu-ray.
You, Shout.
Yes.
Well, it popped up as Shout, and Jen was like, of course this is Shout. It just felt like a Shout thing. And I'm
not upset about that.
No.
You gotta get
don't they do a Mystery Science Theater 3000?
Yeah.
So they love these
They do
kind of
a
things.
lot. They also do a lot of the They do some of the older stuff, the older TV shows.
Right.
Yeah, Legend of Hell House was Scream Factory, which is Shout Factory or whatever.
So this has a bunch of special features. It comes with the scene commentary with Asian cinema expert Tony Raines, an interview with the director Sui Mark. There's the alternative cut that I was telling you about, the Zoo Time Warrior, which is the export version of the film with additional footage. There's interviews with some of the actors. And Moon Lee, Moon Lee is the she played the Countess.
The Countess.
I loved her when I first saw her.
Countess that appears,
Huge crush.
Yeah,
she's gorgeous. And it comes with the original trailer. It comes with a bunch of stills.
I wonder who the other girl was. The
one who ends up going off with them later on.
Yeah, but he didn't. Wasn't one of them like an empress or something, or she like sacrificed herself to save the world?
The Countess.
That was the
That's
Countess that
okay.
did that.
So
Yeah, they had a little romantic thing going on.
Yeah, so
With
that
the monk.
happens, and then there's the other woman who.
She's with the second bananas. Yeah.
No, but she was the one like. Wasn't there another woman that was actually?
Yeah, she had this twin swords.
Yeah, she was the one with the twin swords.
Oh
Flying
yeah,
with
that
the
was the
loop-de-loopies.
zoo something or other, the one they were trying to find.
Yeah.
The keeper of the
Zhu
purple.
Wang is Zhu Wang. Or
She has the
something.
purple and green swords.
Yeah, I liked her. But she shows up like toward the end, and then she gives some explanations.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh, okay, so she's there just to be that pretty much. I mean, there was no other thing with her.
Well, no, I loved how she's like, no, the swords can't touch. Wait, but they can in this one instance. But I don't understand how.
And
Eyebrows, how does this work? Oh, okay, now I get it.
I immediately thought of that scene in Entourage. Don't cross swords.
Yeah. Or was it or across the streams and Ghostbusters?
Yeah.
So
Funny.
you
I
can't.
just like how it took her 10 minutes to figure out.
Yeah, she took her 10
She's
minutes.
holding on to the swords for how long?
And then she was like, "Oh wait, let me ask. Long eyebrows or whatever.
Yeah.
Long brow.
Long brow.
I like. It was just ridiculous.
It's way, 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 way over the top. Everybody's flying around. There's people on wires flying all over the place. Weapons are flying around by themselves. There's lasers going off. There's, kind of cheesy early 80s special effect explosions and fires and weirdness that's just going off. There's something strange happening every 5 seconds, and it's exhausting to watch. It really is exhausting. I forgot how exhausting it is.
Yeah, but I see. Was this like something you would watch on like that would pop up probably on television or something?
I saw it only once on Kung Fu Theater, so it could not have come very often.
Okay.
So
it's not like I remember back in the day you would watch. This is a little newer. This is the 80s, but back in like the 70s or something.
70s and 80s were the ones.
As a kid, you would go grab some, what was it?
Some
cereal and watch Kung Fu Theater or whatever.
Right. They usually had standard Kung Fu movies or some of the Kung Fu comedies. They rarely showed any of the Wushu movies because they don't translate well to the American audiences.
Also, this was Golden Harvest, and those are the guys who did like the Bruce Lee movies.
Yep.
So that must also mean a lot of money, because.
And of course, Shaw Brothers also did a boatload of these movies too, and the UN Brothers that we watched, Drunken Wu-Tang, they did some of these.
Yeah.
They became a big thing, and they stayed a big thing into the 90s as well. And it influenced, like I said, John Carpenter and Big Trouble in Little China, but also, God, what was the one I was going to say? Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
Well, I always thought Big Trouble in Little China influenced Crouching Tiger, but Big Trouble in Little China, but yeah, it had to Big Trouble in Little China had to get their stuff from something, or whatever on John Carpenter's side. But I absolutely love that movie, and I see those things. I see this stuff on their heads and everything. That's Raiden from Mortal Kombat. So Mortal Kombat was was inspired by these.
It's a very thing, at the time it was like you'd think it was kind of crazy and wild, but it's really tame compared to this.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. See. the thing with Big Trouble in Little China is actually makes sense.
Yes.
Even though it's a little off the wall and crazy, it makes sense.
Yeah,
like, you can follow along.
We have Kurt Russell to help guide us through what's going on because he doesn't know what's going on either. So
he's the audience.
He's in the same position we are,
Sure.
and everybody's explaining it to him, so they're also explaining it to us.
Right. He's the audience. So like when somebody says, "This, you can't do this, you can't do that," and he's like, "Why not?" And they're like, "Well, because of this." You're like, "Oh, okay. Well, we don't have that here."
Right.
Nobody explains anything. It's just sort of, they're like, "You got to go do this," and they're like, "Okay, let's go do this."
Yeah, one of my favorite moments in that movie is when, Kurt Russell's like, something happens and he's talking to the evil guy. I don't get it. He says, "Well, you were not put on this earth to get it." Yeah. I'm like, that is wushu right there. Yeah. You don't have to get it. You just have to experience it.
Well, we talked about that earlier in the movie. Is like how evil, in these movies or whatever, is just evil. There's no
other explanation beyond that. You don't have to like in America we have to explain like motivations.
Like that somebody
context.
It's a serial killer. He's a serial killer because his parents abandoned him when he was 12, not just because he's a fucking evil human being.
Right.
And that I think if more people focused on that, just like how some people can be just inherently evil, there doesn't have to be a reason. People would understand more people.
And that's one of the big differences between, Western style stories and Eastern style stories. In the East, you don't really need to go into much depth than good versus evil.
Right.
That's really the thing, right then and there. And you just do good versus evil, and that will draw in everybody because they understand it. We all get it. It's just different versions or different flavors of the same kind of story.
Like the blood demon who has a big cape.
As far as the wushu thing goes, the idea is that these people, that there's this other race. You have humans and you have gods. And in between them, there's the zoo people and the wushu folks, which are sort of like heroes and demons.
Right.
And they're sort of stronger than humans, but not as strong as gods. And that there's a contest between them going on all the time that are going to determine the fate of the world that the humans are in.
But does his soldier and his buddy become gods in a way at the end?
Not so much gods, but they do graduate on to becoming heroes. Okay. They're sort of pre-heroes at first.
But there's also within, Eastern, Japanese and Chinese culture, Buddhism and stuff, you meditate, you're going to gain these powers.
Right.
You're going to gain this stuff through meditation and through practice and blah, blah, blah. So that's part of their kind of mythical traditions.
Sure.
Which I think is showing here. The masters all have these powers because they've done all this
They've
stuff.
already transformed themselves and gone up in levels and so forth.
Yeah, like...
up levels.
Yeah, they've leveled up.
Soldier's master was called Hero, or whatever, and then he didn't know him. He only called him that because he saved his life from the vampires that were attacking or whatever.
Puppet vampires.
Well, they were supposed to be puppet vampires. They were supposed to be vampires. And so they were just like flying and like they would just jump on his head or something.
And the blood demon probably wasn't supposed to be an evil sheet, but it was.
Yeah.
By the way, that can actually happen. So I'm going to tell you guys a funny story.
Evil sheet?
I was a kid, and I was at my gym class as a sixth, and I hated this one kid. I won't say his name because he could be watching. I don't know. But so he ran at me, right? And I was like, oh God! I thought he was like going to kick me. He jumps literally on my head and then jumps off.
Yep.
I did not know anybody can actually do that until that actually happened to me physically. And so when I watch this movie and I see people jumping off each other's heads and stuff, it gives me a little, flashbacks of middle school. I'm sorry,
So I must have been like maybe sophomore year of college when I first saw this, and really enjoyed this. But all I could thinking of is, man, if I had seen this when I was like 10 or 12, I would have just loved this movie to bits. I didn't care that it made no sense.
Well, 10-year-olds don't like understand most of the stuff anyway, and they like that. They just like
It's
pictures.
Simple. It's just good versus evil. That's all I care about.
I probably wouldn't have liked it as a kid, honestly. I'm different than you. I didn't grow up on these kind of like kung fu things. You know, my kung fu was kickboxer. You know, and shit, Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Pretty
you know.
traditional stuff.
Double Team, I guess. I don't
But
know.
you do like this kind of stuff, though.
Yeah. But that's much later in life.
Yeah, you didn't watch it as
Early
a kid,
on.
right?
No.
What were the things you were watching as a kid?
Regular, boring, normal stuff.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
My
I
Little
understand.
Pony, that kind of stuff.
Nothing wrong with My Little Pony.
I
Yes, I
know.
did watch My Little Pony.
There you
shortly.
go. I knew it.
Thundercats, He-Man, She-Ra,
Oh,
all the
yeah.
classics. Absolutely.
That was
Nice.
all my
No,
stuff, too.
But then during middle school, I was overseas, and the only thing I was in Saudi Arabia. So the only thing we could get over there were VHS copies of things that people would bring over. I remember we had a whole VHS library. People
Nice.
would donate their bootleg copies of whatever movies, and you just
Just
be able
watched
to
it
rent
then, yeah.
Yeah,
Whatever
and
you could
like-
get.
Like my friend in Australia, he was telling me, he's like, there's a ton of stuff out here, kind of movies that have just never been released out in the West. You guys have no idea. And it's all still sitting out here, and it's just, you know.
I mean, are they gonna release some of those?
No, a lot of them don't even have owners anymore. They're just floating around.
Well, so you can't do anything if they don't have an owner? Like,
No, you
can't-
can.
Can you buy? Who do you buy
Yeah.
it from?
Whoever has the physical copy of it.
So you go, hey,
You go,
I'll buy
"Here's-
this from
yeah,
you.
here's $1,000, and now you own the rights to it, and you can do whatever you want.
Is $1,000 like just a
Or
a number?
cheaper.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
You should get your friend to do distribution.
I would love that. He's busy doing his other stuff though. I mean, but
He
yeah,
does documentaries. And
yeah.
stuff, right?
Trust me, if we got some investors, I would definitely be buying stuff. That's what Mondo Macabre does. That's what some of these other ones do.
Vinegar Syndrome.
Yeah,
I'm sure, and things
they
like
go fishing in that market. I told you, man. There's like half a dozen Wang Wang movies still out there that have never left the Philippines that I would love to find and have translated and bring to the West.
that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one thing. Like, I don't know what in the West how much it'll be marketed and everything. Because like you say Wang Wang to us, and we know because we've seen For Your Height Only.
Yeah.
You say it to like some random person on the street, they're gonna be like, "What the?" They're gonna think you're talking about
Just
porn.
needs some
You know.
some marketing and shit. I haven't even touched places like India, and Pakistan, which has their whole other thing. I mean, we barely talked about Turkey or Indonesia. There is a massive amount of world cinema out there, and a lot of them are kind of like this. They're just way, way, way over the top. And for a long time, American producers and companies didn't want to touch that because they thought it was too much for the average American, which it kind of sort of is. But nowadays, there's a market. There are niche markets for people like us and others who love this kind of thing.
Us,
Well,
not.
We also have, in the U.S. especially, we're missing the cultural background to a lot of this stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Oh, yeah.
this is like wild and crazy for us because we don't get a lot
Right,
of
we
it.
didn't read the 70 books that are
We
out
don't
there.
have the context for
Right,
it, and
right.
a lot of the
And I don't know
other
if
foreign
or understand
films
the
would be
mythology,
same way.
or yeah.
Yeah, but it's still fun.
I don't know if a lot of people in even in China now would understand this stuff. Like,
Well,
unless
and
they
that's why I was saying it got remade. This movie itself got remade in 2001, and I think it ended up getting remade again. And it was more modern. It had more modern-ish special effects. It was kind of a lesser convoluted plot, but there were still crazy elements and weird stuff to it. A lot more pageantry, a lot more romance. It just doesn't quite have the sort of what the fuck quality to it that this one does.
Well, I'm glad this one got released by Shout, and maybe
Yeah.
Shout should look into more movies like this. I don't know. The person that would have to be talked to is the guy that did run, and might have. Let me see. Actually, if his name is on here, because sometimes Cliff McMillan, who John Ward knows, is good friends with, he's actually one of the producers of these things, but does not look like he put his name on this one. Oh wait, nope. Yep, Blu-ray producer Cliff McMillan. So Cliff picked this movie out to put this out and everything, and obviously, probably the big Trouble in Little China connection.
Sure.
Probably Tarantino probably talked about this at some point.
Sure.
And people were like, "Oh shit, this
Yeah.
movie needs to be out."
And amongst the wushu kind of movies, this is probably the most well known.
Yeah.
But there are others, and I've seen a bunch of them. Again, one of the problems is getting a version that you can at least understand, or getting one that isn't chopped up, or one that's not a shitty public domain version. So trying to find a good version to get all
That's
cleaned
when you
up.
have to make it like clean it up
Yeah,
yourself
yeah,
and
yeah,
stuff
yeah.
like that. Cliff has left. Shout Factor has gone on to Arrow. Arrow's also a really good
Yep.
company that would do really well with this. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I don't know if you know Arrow. Arrow Films.
Nope.
Arrow Films is like Shout Factory or Kino Lorber, Criterion. Those companies are very much boutique labels who actually put a lot of stuff into their movies. You know, they don't just put the movie. Sometimes they just put the movie out, but like most of the time they have extras.
I mean,
I guess it depends on what extras you have access to.
Yeah.
This is pretty impressive set of special features.
It is.
so.
Yeah, you said there was like an audio
Yeah.
commentary.
Yeah.
Oh, a select
Interview with-
scene audio commentary with Asian cinema expert Tony Raines.
Interview with the actors. That's it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And interview with the director, Sue Hark.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really neat.
So I managed to find a Blu-ray version of Drunken Wu-Tang. And the thing is that while it's there and it's uncut and it's the original print, the original Hong Kong print, but it also means that it doesn't have the crazy, weird, cheap, shitty dubbing, which kind of was part of the fun for us in the first time we watched that.
Right.
It also doesn't have English subtitles, so
Oh, no.
you have got to go through the whole Chinese. So
No.
that's
That-
a bit of a
that would
barrier.
be a no, dog.
Yeah,
Oh, come on. That could be fun.
I mean, trust me, I have some movies that are nothing but Chinese with
I just-
no
if I
subtitles.
can't-
It's
so-
tough though.
If I can't understand what they're saying, and even this movie, they talk so fast that the subtitles went like
they
that.
were fast, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I was just like, sometimes I couldn't understand what was necessarily going on. And at one point, I just said, "Fuck it." I'm just.
I could pick out the names though. Every time they would say like, Master Ding.
Master Ding.
yeah.
Yeah, but like.
Yeah.
Things
Well,
that,
so funny story. When I was in Japan, a friend visited me, and he happened to arrive the day that we had planned this outing. It was me and my friend, who's also American, and then a couple of our Japanese friends, and we all went to go see Shaolin Soccer
Nice.
I love
the
Shaolin
Japanese-
soccer.
theater in Chinese with Japanese subtitles. And I didn't tell my friend until he had arrived. And so we just sort of whisked him up and like, oh, by the way, we're going to go see this movie. We had no idea what was being said. We laughed our butts. Our Japanese friends were kind of looking at us like, this is really weird. Yeah, so, it's fine. If you can't understand a lick of what's going on.
Have
Right.
you seen Kung Fu Hustle?
Oh, yeah.
That's the
yeah.
sequel, or well, not sequel,
Yeah, I like Shaolin Soccer.
I mean,
better.
but Shaolin
Think
Soccer's
about
better
this
movie.
though, Moody. Even if there were no subtitles, would it have mattered? This is
No,
all visual.
yeah.
This is all
It's a visual movie, but it did matter a little bit. I wanted to know some of what was going on, at least.
And did you get that?
I
Not
got,
really.
I got some. I mean,
Not much.
I know it was very confusing. Especially, I mean, like I said, the subtitles were a problem because they talk so fast. So it all of a sudden just like they would say something and then it'll be over, and then the next person, and I'm just like, I don't like go back. I want to, but I don't want to rewind it because I want to actually watch
And
the
then,
movie.
if you want to really blow your mind, remember, this is just one region of China. There are other regions of China who would be just as lost as we are.
I wanted a watermelon monster.
Trust me, I always want a watermelon monster.
Well,
We
you
have
got
to
a
show you
sheet,
that.
So,
We have to show
We
you
got the
Drunken
sheet-
Wu-Tang
We got the
someday.
random sheet that's like throwing stuff at people.
yeah.
But you noticed the difference though, that while there was a few comic elements in here, like the part where with the girls and where they were taking their clothes off and they got all shy and a few other things, this was not done as a comedy. This was mostly done as a fantasy drama, excitement kind of thing. Whereas Drunken Wu-Tang, that was martial arts, but it was also a comedy. It was done as a physical comedy.
Yeah, this
movie.
had comedy elements, and I think some of it wasn't meant to be funny, maybe, and it just was.
Right.
Because it was like, like the scene with them flying through the air with the elephants. I was like, what the fuck is going on here? But like, I thought it was funny.
But it did have a lot of comedic elements that were in
Right.
there. Like when the two masters are fighting and the other guy's like, what's happening? He's like, oh, just relax and watch the show. Okay.
Right. A good, a good thing to mention to everybody watching.
Well, like when he's what is it? When you were talking about the nudity or whatever, but when they were talking about, I think they had something with their.
They took their underwear or something.
Yeah, they took their underwears or whatever, and it got really weird. I was like, sort of funny, I guess. Like it got really. It was such a weird movie that you never knew what was going to be next.
There is an element of humor that in the East is very funny, but we find very peculiar. Like I said, in Magic Lizard, where you're watching the water buffaloes take a dump and you're watching the whole thing open up.
You think that's funny?
That's funny there. It's not funny to us. It's like, what the fuck?
Wasn't there a scene in the Watermelon, the
Drunken
Wu-Tang, where where there's like a little kid naked or whatever? And something.
They're supposed to find. He's supposed to find the cherry boy, and so he's going to look and give them money. So they all drop their pants, all these little kids, and one of them really does drop his pants, and you get to see little Dingle there, and we're all like, ah!
We don't want to see that, but that was supposed to be funny.
For like 2 seconds, it's very quick,
But
and then an old lady comes up and whacks him for being a dirty old man.
All of it was like all calling him a dirty old man. It was supposed to be funny,
right?
And I was like, that's not funny. To me, it's not funny. Like,
right.
But I'm from the West, and I just think it's just gross. Like I don't want to see.
Sure.
I don't want to see that, and everything.
Well, we don't want to see a water buffalo taking a dump either, but we saw that.
I know. Oh.
Poor Joe had no idea what was going on.
Joe Turek, right? Oh man.
So,
no, he walked in on that. I think it was just
did.
us doing it, and then he walked in. He was like,
"What are you watching?"
Like I think literally around that scene.
Yeah.
Poor guy.
So there are some things which fly over there, which do not fly over here.
No pun intended.
Yeah. And that to me is also very funny because especially with the reactions. I will never forget the first time I showed Drunken Wu-Tang with that scene to some of my friends, and they were horrified. They literally screamed like, ah! And it was just amazeballs. It's just funny.
I don't know. This movie was fun. I mean, it had great moments.
It didn't have those moments, but yeah.
It didn't have those moments, but it was fun and it was enjoyable. It's just, like the second half got a little slower. And once it got kind of slower, I kind of got kind of tired. And I was already tired because we watched another movie before. So I'm already a little beat. And then I'm like, oh, God. And it's dark.
Talk about going from one extreme to the other, though, as far as these two movies.
But both were weird and quirky. So I get it. We had a weird and quirky day today.
Well, the first one was weird and quirky. The second one was balls to the wall, crazy.
Like, ridiculous.
Over the top.
Yeah.
But it is entertaining. And visually, I mean, if this movie doesn't hold your interest, I don't know what will. There's too much going on at one point. Because it's just, there's too much to take in and try and understand. And by the time you're trying to figure out one stunt, they're already 15 stunts ahead. And it's just nuts. And it's funny because they really show off the kind of stuff that they could do. When there are people flying all over the places and their weapons flying all over the places and just stuff flying all over the places. And I do literally mean flying. Everything was flying at one point.
Everything, everyone, everything.
Everything, everywhere at once.
Yeah.
Just like the movie.
You haven't even seen that yet.
Not yet, but I keep hearing good things about it.
Oh my goodness.
I love Michelle Yeoh.
Yeah. It's crouching down your dinner and dragging people.
Right. And it's funny because while that is a wushu movie, and it's kind of really more made for a mainstream Western audience.
And it feels like that. Like, it feels like if you took the ideas like Drunken Wu-Tang or this movie or whatever, but made it more mainstream.
More palatable.
Yeah. And then that's what led to, like, Kill Bill. Kill Bill was able to take all that stuff too, and that's also very much like the mainstream one. So I mean,
and that's good. It's not that these are bad examples, but they're not They're nothing like
You'll
this.
never, yeah.
This is a whole other level.
Even Tarantino can't make a balls to the wall fucking weird ass movie like this. Like he wouldn't.
But
like,
you
that's
could
just not
see
him.
why the folks who worked on these kinds of movies ended up going to Hollywood and getting involved with all those other movies because they know how to do this
Right.
stuff.
Yeah, you said like a lot of them actually worked on big time movies like The Matrix and stuff like that. So kind of makes sense, you know. That's the thing. So
Yeah, but it's fun though. I mean, for a What the Fuck Friday kind of movie, you can't get more than this. I mean, shit. It's just it's just fun, and I'm glad that you enjoyed this.
Yes,
You know,
I enjoy it.
You know,
I said, I'm not real big into this style. I don't know a lot about them, but I do enjoy them.
so what would Dylan think about a movie like this?
oh god,
It would. Well, I told you I showed him 14 Amazons, and he's like, I'm never watching that again.
yeah, you would not.
But I had to watch it before I got rid of it. But I don't know. I don't know, honestly.
I'd be curious about our friend Stephanie because she likes crazy stuff, but then again, she got broken by Roller Gator, so I don't know.
Well, Roller Gator's different. It's not. It's not balls to the wall crazy like this is.
But it's bad.
It's bad, but like it's bad on a very low budget side.
I also think people put aside parts in their brain for non-American crazy. Like you give them more allowances.
Right.
More leeway.
Yes. Well, because you also have the different costumes. It's way different than
Oh,
anything that we're used to. Different
amazing.
settings. Different. Yeah. All of that kind of stuff.
Colors were
so-
amazing. The sets were amazing. You know, the acting was good for the most part. You barely notice it because there's just so much wackadoodle shit.
Yeah, the acting is just them going, "What the fuck just happened? What the fuck just happened? Why am I here?" You know, right? Like that's literally most of the scenes.
Just to save yourself from being killed by all the shit flying around is good enough.
Well, like we said, like apparently there was 45 days or whatever that happened in this movie, and it felt like it was one. You know, like it didn't feel like there was no dissolves, there was no time, whatever. It was just like all of a sudden, oh, it's 4 days left. Oh, what?
Right, and you're right. You start off, you're just shoved right in. It's like somebody pushes you into the deep end.
Brief explanation. There's warring states. Lots of fighting.
That's
Go.
right.
Good luck.
They did have the narrator, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Explaining
For 30
something.
seconds.
Really
For
didn't
30
add
seconds.
anything because they didn't explain anything about this evil. They explained about this mountain, which we still don't know where this mountain is. What
mountain
which
they're
mountain
talking
is
about
it, and where are
necessarily.
these warriors? So none of that.
Yeah.
This explanation didn't
Because none of them
help
ever
at all.
Right.
none of them ever get called the Zoo Warriors, right?
Yeah.
Like no, they don't go. Welcome to the Zoo Warriors, you know, or whatever, right? Like it's just like okay, I guess that's what they're called,
Right.
You know. And
The beginning didn't add anything to it.
There is a sequel.
There's Zoo Warriors and what?
I forget exactly what the sequel is. I haven't actually found it, but there is a sequel that was shot maybe a year after that.
With the
by
same director?
people. Yeah.
The same people?
So, yeah, if I can find it, I'll see if I can. You know, hopefully it's in a Blu-ray state, but if I can find it, I'll bring it up.
Probably not, because I don't know how well this did. If this did very
This was
well,
a-
they might try to find a sequel. But if
It was a
they
hit
didn't-
out east, but I don't know about here.
right, I'm saying like for the Blu-ray, you know, for the Shout Factory Blu-ray. So if it was a hit on the Blu-ray, maybe they'll, you know, who knows?
I mean, if you like your Chinese hopping vampires and, you know, that kind of wackiness.
Well, should I eat Chinese food while we're watching?
I know, really, I know. But if I can find Chinese Ghost Story, I'm definitely getting that. There's 5 or 6 classic, over-the-top wushu kind of movies that are out there. There's several Filipino ones. I forget the name of it, but it's the one where the very specific kind of a Filipino vampire, where it's basically a head and a bunch of guts that flies around attacking people.
Ah,
I forget the name of it.
that
Yeah.
sounds wonderful, right, Jen?
And Yang or something like that.
Now you got to look that up and find out what they
I
look
got
like.
a few of them as well. There's just some crazy ass shit out there. It's a lot of fun, you know.
Yeah. There's
I just didn't think you would put up with something that's just all over the place. I
Then
figured.
why did you ask her for this movie?
I asked her, but I warned her. I did warn her.
I mean,
This is more up my alley than something serious.
Yeah.
Serious
That's what
movies,
she told me.
Ugh, I suffer through. I'm not a drama person, nothing like this. But,
yeah, but
you know,
this
the
is
adventure,
comedy,
the
where you're
comedy.
laughing
Fun.
the whole time. You're not
Yeah.
being taken seriously.
Yeah, that's more.
Yeah.
That's why I said this rather than the serious one. In
Well,
which
the-
he reiterated, "Are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure?
Wait,
Are you sure?"
never watched the Francis Ha movie? Is
Sorry.
that the one that you were?
That was originally. I mean, I was going to do that as a possibility.
Right.
You know,
okay.
it wasn't until
Not what the fuck, but for Criteria Watch.
yeah,
And
and it wasn't until Jen was like, "Yeah, I don't really want to do anything serious," and I was like, "I wouldn't call this serious, but it's." I figured this was a little bit more your taste when you said that, so
Yeah, serious movies.
you,
put me
you
to
picked the
sleep.
right ones for the right people. It was perfect.
I try to.
So,
Well,
most,
should we go back a couple years ago?
are you saying Miss Werewolf wasn't that
At
serious?
least I
Was
didn't.
Was that serious?
No, I was thinking of picking right movies for the right people.
Oh yeah. Well,
Yeah,
still Miss Werewolf.
Hey,
Yeah,
I
that still
didn't.
works.
I didn't do Ski Wolf, okay, and I didn't do titty movie for a 16-year-old girl either.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
I'm a little bit better at picking the right movies. Not a lot,
I don't
but a little
know.
bit.
You do a lot of Neil Breen movies.
I do. People love that.
Oh.
Shit, you guys have Neil Breen T-shirts. Come on, you're the
That's
right
'cause
folks.
You gave it to us.
By the way, he's got a new one.
He's
It's
got a
coming
new
out.
T-shirt.
It's got a new movie.
Oh,
It's 33
I
bucks.
don't care.
but I'm
about
buying
a
it.
T-shirt.
God, that much for
It's worth it. It's supposed to be his worst yet.
his what?
Worst yet.
And it's a sequel to the first one we did, Fateful Findings.
Yes.
Oh. I'm not watching the first one again to make it through the second one.
No, but there's
Hell
one
no.
point where he's punching a tiger. It's wonderful.
Oh.
Well, I'm sure it was a fake tiger?
Yeah, it's a fake digital tiger.
Yeah, a digital tiger. But like, because I don't think you'd actually get a real tiger to punch.
And he gets to wear his fake mustache and beard again. So and we love that. Keep on
Well,
making those movies,
So
Neil
this is
Breen.
what we've decided. If we do it, we want to bring our friend Rebecca on too. So
Right.
it'll be you and Rebecca together.
So it's probably going to be next year.
So it'll be probably next year.
Yeah.
But
Oh Lord.
we love you.
Because I already got
Yeah.
I've already got the season finale picked out.
Oh Lord.
I swear it doesn't have to be you don't have to have Neil Breen as the season
I know.
finale all the time.
But I love to go out with a bang.
No.
And he almost always gives us a bang. The last one we did, though, did not get a 30.
Well, yeah, and that was
Got a 29, but but it didn't get a 30. His string is broken.
Oh man, yeah. Well, it was one of his first ones too, so it was like he was still learning.
Yeah.
So he wasn't as like crazy.
And there's a great scene where they're pushing this pram along, and there's an obviously fake baby in there, and it's like just like that, you know. And it's like,
This is not a fake baby.
and they're just like talking to it, and it's like, could someone get the real baby, please? Couldn't you find a real baby to just put in there for a few seconds?
No one would trust them with a real baby. Come
Oh
on.
God, that
It's
was
just
like
there, like
that sounds like the scene in Miss Werewolf where
Oh God,
the guy
I-
just stops him. You making a movie?
Yes.
And then he was like, "Yes, I am. I'm making. My name is David the Rock Nelson, even though he's supposed to be in character."
Let me tell you about my movie memorabilia collection. Awesome.
Oh man, we gotta do another one of his.
Yes,
movies.
we will.
No, thank you.
She won't be involved.
No,
we'll spare
it's
her.
somebody else's turn
Yeah.
to torment.
That's how we did it with you the second Neil Breen movie. I don't think were you a part of
No,
that?
she was there for that.
I've been there for 2.
Yeah, oh God. Okay. I thought
Two,
you
three?
left. Like
Yeah.
you didn't.
We've done 3.
To say.
We've done 3, so
We spared you the 3rd one.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I feel
We
like
were
I've
being
seen
very
more than
nice
2.
at that point, but I think that's because you told us no. So we said we would.
We want to
but-
make sure you're coming back, so we take you seriously when you say no.
Yeah, But it sounds like you're okay with doing another one at some point.
And you're okay with some of the what the fucks as long as they're not, you know, certain ones, certain kinds.
Yeah, you know my limit.
Yeah.
I do enjoy cheesy ones like this.
So
They're
they're
fun.
no lust for Dracula.
Probably not.
and
No.
Things like that.
It doesn't
That was the
sound
first
like
one
it.
we did.
Yeah.
That was for What the Fuck Friday.
Misty
because
Monday.
He knew he wanted to do it for. Now you did do a Misty Monday movie with her.
Yeah,
Bite
we
Me.
did Bite Me. That was fun.
Yeah.
That was the one with the bar where the dinosaurs were all over the place and they had the little evil bugs.
I may have blocked that from my memory.
You actually liked that one. You
I
gave a good
don't.
score.
Okay.
Yeah.
You actually thought it was kind of cute.
Yeah,
but,
it was cute.
I don't remember it off the top of my head. Sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. We showed you so many. By now.
I know.
The
I know.
first season was 20 something episodes, so
He was so happy. He got to tell the story again about how you got roped into this. He told our friend Rachel, and he had so much fun telling it.
oh, I've told Stephanie. I've told everybody.
I know.
Yeah.
When you're
I
not here,
figured
because
that.
you tell people when you are here, you know, or whatever. And,
Gotta let them know what kind of cons you guys run.
Yes, he was in the con too.
I was not.
He just didn't. He just didn't know it at the time.
Didn't know it. Yeah.
I did not. Like I was like, what? You know, because I was explaining it to her, and she's looking at me going, podcast? What? And you're like,
Hey,
can you?
and big ups to Jen. There was a part where she wouldn't come on a video cast. Remember? She's like she refused.
No, I mean, remember in the beginning
Yeah.
she came on, and then she
did the first one when we talked about
there's
our
a couple.
love of movies.
There's a couple ones you did because I remember I've got a couple of videos in the beginning of our stuff, and then you just decide a lot of those like other ones we were already doing too much with you. I think.
Yeah, I know, and you didn't have time. You were working like
you
four
were
jobs
working,
or
so you
something.
said no,
Yeah.
but I think if you have time and we're not roping you in for an IFC episode,
And
you're okay.
it had so much to it, so that's why we love having you on.
Yeah. So thank you. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
Like, once again, this is your first. This has been like I think 4 or 5 seasons
And
that we've done this.
It's been
and this is your
nice
first.
that we also
Yep.
get to show you other movies instead of just the crappy, stinky ones. So.
Oh, this. I mean, I don't know if this counts for that or not because this was a pretty crazy one.
It's a crazy one.
I don't know.
But I wouldn't call it crappy.
No, it had a lot of. It had a
It's
budget.
messy. It's very messy.
Yeah,
Confusing.
Yes.
Yeah.
but also big budget and
Mhm.
stuff. So
Sure.
This is a lot of people would wish they had the budget of this, but they wouldn't do half the shit that they did with this.
Oh
movie.
yeah, no. I
You
mean,
know.
just from an insurance point of view alone, I can't imagine anybody in the West making a movie like this. There's just no way. You want me to do what?
Yeah, the producers would say, well, I would love it, like one day if I had the chance to like, if I were good friends, because I wouldn't do this to a regular studio head, but if I was good friends with a studio head, sitting them down, making them watch these movies, and saying there are people who love this kind of stuff, and
Sure.
I bet if somebody, if they would see what they're like and everything, they'd be like, that's brilliant. Like people would go crazy for something so weird and fantastic.
And
like
an actor. If you're an actor and you're told you're going to be making this crazy movie and you're going to be on wires and you're going to be flying all over the place, I'd say a lot of actors would be like, sign me up.
Like that movie we're still trying to figure out the title of. I think it's Dead Things or Little Things or whatever
Pretty
it is.
Things, whatever the...
Pretty Things.
Pretty
or something.
Things?
I don't know. Whatever. Anyway, that movie is just so wackadoodle and shit.
With Emma
and
Stone.
A24 put it out. Emma Stone starred in it,
Yeah.
but it's so like weird and wacky and shit.
It was really good, though.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet, so but I've heard.
Yeah,
I've heard good
we'll
things.
cover it. We'll cut some point. Maybe for Patreon only.
Something.
Something like that.
But anyway.
All right. So yeah, if you really want something that's different and over the top and just fun, I would definitely recommend Zoo Warriors from Magic Mountain, and I would go for the original. Don't go for the newer ones. They're kind of math. They're kind of okay, but nothing like this.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like if you try to remake this movie today, it just won't. It just won't work. But
They would green screen everything, and it wouldn't look the same.
I was surprised this wasn't. Some of this stuff looked like it was green.
Oh yeah, there's a ton of practical special effects in this.
That look green.
Some is
screen.
more successful than others, but yeah, it was pretty amazing, especially for 1983. You know.
Yep.
So, thanks again for joining us. Please join us next time on another episode, which is going to be,
Mine.
Yeah, it's going to be yours. It's going to be a little while.
No, maybe next month.
Maybe next month. All right. Well, thank you for What the Fuck Fridays. I just didn't think we had a lot of episodes left this season.
We've got a few.
Okay. Well, that's good.
I know.
Would you come back for another?
It depends.
Depends.
Yeah.
Okay.
Depends.
We'd have to
Sounds
find
good.
another one that's kind of not like this exactly, but like something that
You
have
bribed
a
us.
comedy.
Look at all this lovely cake that we got.
Yes.
Yum yum yum.
So thank you guys so much, and join us next month for a brand new episode.
Bye. I know.
I am usually glorious. and
You
now
are
I'm
always
sad.
glorious.
Whatever. I'm gonna pull my shirt down, keep it down, makes me look skinnier.
There we go. Okay, so we'll be back.
So, I briefly got into old cheesy Chinese flicks and stuff like that, and I made Dylan watch the 14 Amazons.
Oh, nice. Nice. What did he think?
Oh, he about died. He's like, oh my god, because I want him to watch one of Jackie Chan's early ones, the Half a Loaf of Kung Fu.
Nice.
'Cause I think it's hilarious. And he's just like, I don't know, you made me watch that other one.
If you've ever seen a Chinese
different.
ghost story, this is more like that, only even more over the top. It's great.
You didn't have to film all that.
Contest. We're bringing the baby doll.
You. It's an escape route.
All right.
There is.
I'm telling you, you would love the Greasy Strangler. You would have as much fun with that as you did with this.
Well, I still have to get. I told Dylan, I was like, we still need to sit down with some popcorn to watch that weird kung fu movie that we found in our old house that had been on top of a shelf that the walls had been repainted, so it's all covered with paint.
Nice.
No idea. It looks.
Fate has defined that movie for you to watch.
It depending on what it is, maybe bringing it to you. Oh, you may
Okay.
know it. I'll text you later the name.
You can see the title?
Yeah, you take the paper out of it. It's a DVD.
Oh, okay.
The plastic cover is all.
So you know it's
spray
not
painted.
like a weird porn movie that somebody tried to hide.
I don't know. I've not put it into the player yet.